Hello everyone, welcome back to Translation 1 in summer 2020. Today this is class 15 and I'm going to discuss a topic that is very important as usual because it's very basic and it will remain with you along your career in translation. This topic is Arabization, and I want you to go to this book which is already known to you, I assume, Translation as Problems and Solutions, and read the whole topic from page, from page 146 until 156, okay? Is it 156? Just let me, it's not clear here. No, it's not 1 second. Yeah, until 171, okay? Arabization is part of technical translation because it deals with technicalities of translation. And here we are going to talk about the forms or methods of Arabization that include transcription, naturalization, translation, coinage. These are 4 methods of Arabization. And Arabization, from the nature of the term, you talk about transferring words, specifically technical words or specialized words like terms, like technical terms, etc., from any language, including English, into Arabic. Here, Ghazala defined technical translation in order to delve into Arabization. He says that technical translation is the translation of scientific terms of all kinds. All kinds mean physical, chemical, mathematical, mechanical, technological, biological, agricultural, computer science, internet, and many other terms that all can be included under technical translation. Here he says the word term mustalah is used to refer to any scientific expression, whether 1, 2, 3, or more words together. Okay? Arabization or Arabicization, by analogy to Anglicization or Germanization, and some people who specialize in Arabic translation make this nuance between Arabization and Arabicization. We will come to it in translation too. It is differentiated there. Okay? Arabization is the translation of technical terms into Arabic. It is one of the main problems posed before not only the students, before here means in front of, okay? Not only the students, but also teachers of translation as much as Arab translators. So a teacher, a translator, a novice translator, a well-established translator will come across the problem of Arabization. Since these terms are new to Arabic language, as most of them do not already exist in it, the term Arabization is used here in general sense to replace translation. Yeah. According to Ghazala, Arabization is bigger than translation even. You will see that one method of Arabization is translation because it has to do with Arabic language, with transferring terms from other languages into Arabic. This is Arabization. Now, in the book, Ghazala talks about methods of Arabization. These are transcription, naturalization, translation, and coinage. We will come to each one of these and explain what he means by it. The classification is good for you. It helps you understand the dynamics of transfer from English or French or any other world language into Arabic. But before we go into Ghazala's classification, I want to draw your attention to the fact that there is something called the universal language of science. When you say that biology, for example, is a scientific term, it is not an English term in first place. Biology is a Greek word. Most of these words, biology, technology, etc., are mostly Greek or Latin. And when we say that these terms are Greek or Latin, this means that all world languages took them from these two sources. I mean Greek and Latin. So they became universal all over the time, and they are not English or French. So they are borrowed in English, they are borrowed in French from Greek or Latin, or Arabic, like alma mater, for example, because it was one day a universal language of science, okay? So this is very important for you in order to sometimes tracing the word makes the concept embedded in it easy to understand, easy to digest for a better translation. So let us go for the methods of Arabization. Transcription is also called transference, تحويل أو نسخ. نسخ هنا بمعنى النسخ واللصق، إنه بمعنى اللصق. لصق الكلمة زي ما هي بالضبط from English into Arabic in our case. It is the literal spelling of the English term in Arabic letters as it is exactly pronounced. You take it from English, you put it in Arabic, okay? Mobile, you transfer it into mobile. Instead of saying أريد أشتري جوال أو نقال أو هاتف، بتقول أنا بدي أروح أشتري موبايل. أوكي؟ هذا هو الترانسكريبشن زي ما هي بتنقلها، أوكي؟ طبعا هذا موجود جدا في العربية. الأمثلة اللي موجودة هنا اللي بوردها غزالة، بنك تترجم إلى بنك، كمبيوتر إلى كمبيوتر، تلفزيون إلى تلفزيون. طبعا هنا تلفزيون إلى تلفزيون لطيفة هنا، إنه إحنا ما قلناش تلفزيون، الأصل بناء على القاعدة اللي حطها هو نقول تلفزيون. بالتالي تلفزيون مأخوذة حاجة إيطالي، حاجة فرنسي، ترانسكريبشن من فرنسي مش من إنجليزي، أوكي؟ راديو برضه هذا ممكن يكون ناتشراليزيشن مع كمبيوتر برضه، بس ما علينا، احنا نثبت ايش بقول الان في الكتاب. رادار، بنسلين، اسبرين، الكترون، تليفون، كاسيت، فيديو، فيلم، سينما، ميكروفون، ساتلايت، فيروس، بكتيريا، فاكس، سيريلك، انيميا، انترنت، مايكروسوفت، ويندوز، موبايل، بيجر. كل هدول الكلمات أمثلة على كيف انتقلوا من الإنجليزي زي ما هم intact من الإنجليزي إلى العربي. The comment here Ghazala suggests is that transcription is the worst method of Arabization. He talks about the ability of Arabic to swallow, digest, and bend the coming words into Arabic, okay, in its own way. When you have a word and put it in Arabic as it is without any change, to him, this is threatening to the body of Arabic language, okay? Especially if they are abundant, okay? And if the receiving language, like Arabic in our case, has a lot of words of such a kind. He says, in fact, apart from writing the foreign words in Arabic letters, transcription is not Arabization at all, okay? It is Westernization, تغريب, or foreignization, أجنبة, so to speak. That is, it is It is no more than giving the foreign terms an Arabic dress. ما فيش هنا إبداع. The Arabic nation, the Arabic identity is threatened by all these words injected to it without a rule, okay? As if Arabic does not have its own ways of receiving foreign words. We'll come to this when we go to naturalization. Their meanings are not given at all. Yeah, you say bank, you don't give the meaning. It becomes a whole concept, a whole life, a whole new life in the recipient culture. Although people know telephone, اسبرين, بنسلين, bank, computer, Cyrillic, satellite, film, video, cassette, fax, many of them do not know. Okay? Virus, electron, pager, internet, mobile, anemia, bacteria. يعني في كلمات انت ممكن تعرفهم، في كلمات ممكن ما تعرفهمش، ممكن تعمل لخبطه هو يعني اللي بده يقوله. In any case, transcription is the poorest and worst way of Arabization, for it means to open the door widely to the foreign words, to invade Arabic language unconditionally and seriously. Therefore, it has to be avoided by all means by the students, except in two cases only. So, Ghazala here doesn't believe that transcription, which is, by the way, a dominant translation strategy these days, because people are lazy. They don't sit down and discuss matters. We don't have linguistic institutions that take care or cater for the language progress. So everybody, every media outlet use what it pleases, okay? Uses what it pleases for the moment. So he says that it has to be avoided by all means by the students, except in two cases only. The first one is when the foreign term has not been given an Arabic equivalent yet. You wait, okay, like vitamin, like radar. In such a case, it can be used temporarily until it is given an Arabic word, assuming that there are institutions that sit down and look into new words, okay, new coming words, new invented or coined words in the world, and give them Arabic equivalents. This is what should have happened to words like video, cassette, telephone, radio, television, computer, bank, mobile, internet, fax, virus, satellite, microphone, cinema, film, anemia. Some of these words, by the way, are given words in Arabic. Okay? فيديو جهاز عرض أعطوها قبل هيك، راديو مذياع، تلفزيون رائي، كمبيوتر حاسب، بنك مصرف، موبايل جوال، إنترنت شبكة المعلومات، كل هذا فيه له كلمات. The problem is that these words are given Arabic words, are given Arabic real words, but they are not promoted by other cultural institutions beyond the walls of linguistic academies. Okay? Yeah, he says that bank is given مصرف, computer حاسب آلي, television إذاعة مرئية, راديو مذياع أو إذاعة مسموعة, كاسيت شريط تسجيل أو شريط فيديو جهاز عرض وتسجيل, فيلم شريط مرئي, سينما خيالة أو دار عرض, مايكروفون مكبر صوت أو ناقل صوت, ساتلايت قمر اصطناعي أو صناعي, فيروس جرثومة معدية, بكتيريا جراثيم, فاكس ناسوخ, بريد مصور, براق. كل هذه موجودة في العربي. أنيميا فقر دم, إنترنت شبكة المعلومات, موبايل الجوال, النقال, المحمول, الخليوي, بيجر النداء. هذولا كلهم اللي موجودين في العربية. إذن he talks about that they should be avoided, transcription, okay? Transcription should be avoided only in two cases. One, when the foreign term has not been given an Arabic equivalent yet. And two, he doesn't list at all, that's okay. The weakness of this method of Arabization lies in two main points: the laziness of the translator to exert any effort to search for an Arabic word of some kind to translate the meaning, not the spelling, and the easiness of transcription. Yeah, people do not take trouble to look into words or to sit down and agree on words. Okay? He concludes by saying that it becomes even worse when ordinary lexical words like set, group, gap are transcribed into Arabic. بدل ما يقول لك set مجموعة أو زمرة بروح بيقول لك set اللي هي طقم يعني أو جروب بيقول لك جروب جاب بدل ما يقول لك فجوة أو فرجة أو ثغرة أو فتحة بيقول gap. He concludes that this is a result of the huge serious influence of English in particular and foreign terms in general on Arabic language users. But this is no good reason for overusing this method, which remains unacceptable by all standards. Yes. He believes that there is a better method than transcription, although it can be avoided, but he says this method at least applies the rule of Arabic. The rule of Arabic are attended for, are respected, the rules of Arabic morphology at least. Let us take a look at this method, which is naturalization. He defines it as adapting the English term to Arabic. There in transcription, you transfer intact, untouched. But here you adapt the English term to Arabic pronunciation, alphabet and grammar, by modifying its pronunciation, only partly changing the spelling of one or more of its letters into Arabic ones, and using it in a singular, plural, masculine, feminine, or verb form. Yeah, this is one way of maintaining the Arabic language identity. When you take something from other languages, you apply the rules of Arabic on it. It becomes, over time, it becomes part of the language because you apply the rules of the language on them. He gives examples starting with technology. That is translated into technologia. Technological في adjective في هنا صرف صرفناها بتصير تكنولوجي أو تكنولوجية. يعني حتى أعطاها إيش؟ المؤنث. technologist تكنولوجي المتخصص في التكنولوجيا، أو حتى تكنولوجية متخصصة في التكنولوجيا. technologists اللي هو plural، تكنولوجيون أو تكنولوجيات. لاحظ كل القواعد سارية هنا. technologically adverb تكنولوجيا. خلاص ما دام طبقت القواعد على الكلمة إذن the word becomes yours, naturalized. أنتوا عارفين فعل naturalize معناها يجنس. لما أنت تروح، لو بدك تروح على بريطانيا مثلا and you get naturalized in England، أنت بتاخذ الجنسية، بمعنى إنه جزء من الفكرة إنه بتصير أنت جزء من البلد، تجري عليك أحكامها. وأنت you don't get naturalized in Britain, for example, until you spend some time there to adapt, to get adapted, to conform to the rules, to the social network, etc., etc. Okay? The same applies to words. Okay? It takes time. Now, إحنا أول ما جت التكنولوجيا كانت transcribed, for example. بعدين مع الزمن بدينا نشتق منها ونعطيها مؤنث ونعطيها مذكر ونعطيها جمع ونعطيها مثنى ونعطيها كذا، حتى صارت جزء من الثقافة اللغوية. لدرجة إنه أنت لو سألت أخوك اللي في المدرسة تكنولوجيا كلمة عربية ولا إنجليزية، اللي هو لحاله حيفكر إنها عربية. This is one criterion of exploring the thing. المثال الثاني magnet، مغناطيس، ومنه magnetic مغناطيسي، magnetism مغنطة، magnetize يمغنط يعني صار منها فعل. المثال الثالث oxide، oxidate oxidize يؤكسد، oxidation oxidization أكسد تأكسد، oxidant oxidizer مؤكسد، oxidated or oxidized مؤكسد. لاحظ كيف؟ المثال الثالث هيدروجين يهدرج hydrogenate hydrogenize، هدرجة hydrogenation hydrogenization، hydrogenator مهدرج، مهدرج اللي هو اسم مفعول، hydrogenated. اوكي. المثال الخامس بيولوجي. اوكي. بيولوجي naturalization بيولوجيا، بيولوجيا ايش بتدرس؟ بدرس بيولوجيا. بيولوجيكال بتصير بيولوجي صفة، الناون منها المتخصص في البيولوجيا يعني بيولوجي أو بيولوجية، والجمع بيولوجيستس بيولوجيون أو بيولوجيات. بيولوجيكلي اللي هي الادفيرب بيولوجيا. يعني هذه الحاجات بتعطيك شوية قوة في الترجمة لما انت تكون قادر على انه انت تتفاهم مع النص اللي معك وتحتل عليه، وما تقعدش انت تعمل مثلا تلجأ للاستراتيجي المعروفة المألوفة اللي زمان كانوا بيستخدموها مثلا لبيولوجيكلي. بيولوجيكلي مثلا زمان ترانزليشن باي بارافريز، اذا ذاكرين استراتيجيات الترجمة بدل ما يترجموها كلمة واحدة اللي هي بيولوجيا، ممكن حد يجي يروح يعملها ترانزليشن باي بارافريز ويقول لك على نحو ما يعني ممكن تقول ايش؟ على نحو بيولوجي، او على نحو ما يصف علم الحياة او علم الأحياء. طبعا علم الحياة وعلم الأحياء هذه ترانزليشن عندنا حنجي لها في الميثود رقم 3. اوكي. ميكانكس ميكانيزم، ميكانيزم ميكانيكية، ميكانيزمز ميكانيكيات، ميكانيكال ميكانيكي صفة أو ميكانيكية إذا كانت مؤنث. ميكانيكال انجينيرينج مثال على ميكانيكال، ميكانيكال هو هندسة ميكانيكية. ميكانيك الميكانيكي المتخصص في ميكانيك أو ميكانيكية. أوكي. أو ميكانيكية. تمام. ميكانايز يمكنن، اليوم موجودة كلمة المكننة وزيها الدمقرطة أو الدقرطة. ميكانايزيشن مكننة، ميكانيكال ميكانيكيا صفة. The last example given here talks about how Arabic starts over time to not only apply the rules of morphology, grammar, masculine, feminine aspects, but also the alphabets. There is a change in the alphabets. Whereas the gha and ta, for example, in this word are used. Topography بتصير طوبوغرافيا. The ta doesn't exist in English. The gha doesn't exist in English. Now, inserting the ta and the gha here gives a flavor to the word, that it gives more identity. This is called naturalization. This is naturalization. This is adaptation. Okay? Bending the coming word into the rules of the recipient language. Topographic بتصير طبوغرافي، طبوغرافية صفة adjective. Topographer اللي بيشتغل في الطبوغرافيا متخصص في الطبوغرافيا بنقول عنه طبوغرافي أو طبوغرافية. Topographers طبوغرافيون أو طبوغرافيات plural. طبقنا عليها كل آليات الجمع، جمع التكسير، جمع المؤنث السالم، جمع المذكر السالم، وهكذا. وبتصير طبوغرافيون لما تكون مرفوعة، وطبوغرافيين لما تكون منصوبة، وهكذا. توبوغرافيكلي adverb اللي هي ظرف بتصير ايه؟ طبوغرافيا. هذه بتختصر وقت كثير عليكم. اوكي. Most of these words are readily existent in Arabic. You only need to look for them in dictionaries and see how predecessor linguists, lexicographers, Arab linguists, Arab lexicographers gave words to them. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Okay? Reinvent the wheel is an idiom meaning لا تعيد اختراع العجلة. Just go. Your problem in fact lies in newly coined words that have not been processed in Arabic yet. And because of the communication revolution today, people sit down quick and give words. Although there is some chaos and problems of cultural production, but again you will find a way out if you come across a new term. Now the third method, which is translation. Translation is a means of Arabization according to Ghazala. He believes that it's a means of Arabization. You can say this. You can take Arabization as the umbrella term because this is in terms of Arabic, okay? He says that it is the transmission of English technical terms into Arabic. In transcription, you transfer everything as it is without any change. And here is the reason why transcription is refused in Arabic. And if you go and look up the word or the term linguistic nationalism, you will understand more why Ghazala refuses transcription, because language is the main ingredient of a national identity, and if it is prone or if it is so fragile that people from all sorts of specializations inject it with words without rules, without applying these rules, this might weaken the language itself. So it has to do with the culture, it has to do with the linguistic identity. You don't end up having a distorted linguistic repertoire where you cannot define yourself as an Arab speaking Arabic. Okay? This is very, very important point you need to take into consideration when you translate. But before we go to the third method, because I'm giving a signal that we don't have much time, I'll continue in the next session. Let me read the last paragraph with which he concludes naturalization. The Arabic naturalized terms are inflected according to Arabic grammar. Inflected مشتقة. Concerning nouns, adjectives, verbs, adverbs, زي ما شفتوا طبوغرافيا، طبوغرافي، تكنولوجيا وهكذا. Okay? Adverbs, singular, plural, masculine, feminine, as the examples illustrate. The last example confirms another feature of naturalization, اللي هو الطبوغرافيا, okay? In accordance with the Arabic alphabet, namely the use of the two letters, the ta and gha, which are not in the English alphabet, of course. Yeah, he's happy that Arabic is adding up to the value of the word by adding these two words. Although naturalization is a step further towards acceptable Arabization, it is not satisfactory because the foreign term is still mainly as it is without an Arabic equivalent. He wants to put a totally new Arabic equivalent. Therefore, it may be not understood except for a specialist, an engineer or a doctor or a scientist. Many people do not understand أكسيد هدرجة, biologia, طبوغرافيا. This means that Arabization has not been achieved in an acceptable way as yet. A better method is required, and he believes translation is the method. We're going to discuss this in the next class, which is class 16. Stay tuned. Bye bye.